Good morning, everyone. My name is Arjit Paul. I am a trainer for ChatGPT course from Uplatz. Today's topic is using macros in Excel, an introduction to learning SQL using ChatGPT. So, using macros in Excel is very important, right? It will help you automate repetitive tasks. It will help you to be more productive. So here I have just prepared like a normal data set. It has the name, we have the email address, and also we have the message. I have created this table using ChatGPT, and in a previous prompt where I had used prompt. So I just mentioned that please help me with a data set where I can be able to get a sample data set using ChatGPT for email automation. So this is the objective which we want to achieve. We want to automate these kinds of emails should go to this email address and this person should reach this message. It's very important to understand that automation is something which essentially helps us to reduce time. It helps us to be more productive, and also it is one of the most important reasons for upskillment in today's time, how we can automate things between us. Okay, it doesn't have to be very advanced coding or something like that. You are using ChatGPT to automate your task, you are using it to make your work easier, and together we'll see how we can achieve that. Okay, because macros are a very advanced function in Excel, and not everyone can understand it. So if you use ChatGPT, if you harness the capabilities, then you can automate repetitive tasks. See, the tasks which are doing on a multiple basis and it's the same task, that's called a repetitive task. Okay, suppose if you're writing this email to John Smith in a manual way and sending it manually, then your output reduces. At the same time, you can write a program to send thousands of emails and it will be automated. The message can also be automated with the help of ChatGPT. And you need to be very careful with whatever you have macro and what code you've used. There's something which we can use ChatGPT to format it, to identify errors, and this is a game changer. So in this session, I can guide you on how to use macro, and also I'll demonstrate how to automate emails using a sample dataset. Okay. So in sequence of macro, let me understand first the definition of macro. Okay. Let me just say definition of macro in Excel. So if you can understand this, here it's giving a macro in Excel. What is a macro? It is essentially a set of instructions or a sequence of actions that automates tasks within the spreadsheet. Macros are created using Visual Basic for Applications, which is VBA, a programming language that allows users to write custom scripts to automate process in Excel. So this is a new language system, a programming language, which is VBA, or it's called Visual Basic for Application. That is the full form of VBA. It allows users to write custom scripts, and that will help us to automate the task in Excel. See, here the key points to know about macros in Excel. Automation. This is the most important part. This is the heartbeat. This is the reason why VBA is used, and this is the reason why macros are used in Excel. The major point is automation. So macros enable us, it enables the users to automate repetitive tasks like formatting data, like generating reports, applying formula, or even interacting with other application. Recording macros can be created by recording a series of action in Excel. When the recording feature is enabled, Excel tracks every action you take. So if we're switching into Excel over here, um, see, you need to mention and you need to do a couple of things, okay? See, we don't have the developer option over here. We do have the automate option. So that is fine. Okay. If I have to ask Excel how to get developer option in Excel. See, without even understanding, without even knowing what to do, we can essentially ask the same question to ChatGPT, and then see it's giving us the exact steps. To use macros in Excel, you will want to enable the developer tab. So this tab provides access to tools for writing and managing macros, working in forms, working in controls, and other advanced Excel features. So for everyone who is using Excel 2010, 2013, 2016, 2019, and also Office 365, there are simple steps, a syntax of steps which you need to work on and we need to enable. So if we follow these steps, we can be able to get the developer option. So what is it saying? It's saying to open Excel, go to File, Access Options, and choose the Customize ribbon. So into Excel, I went to File, I went to Option, and in Option, you can see the Customize ribbon option is there, like ChatGPT has said. Check the developer box. In the right panel, you will see a list of tabs under Main tabs. Look for the checkbox next to Developer and check it. So see the developer tab is here, it's not checked. So what to do? Just select here like ChatGPT has mentioned, and see these are all the tabs over here are the same tabs which is appearing in the ribbon. We have the file, okay, we have the home, the view, automate, insert, add-ins, help. We have all these files. Okay, we have all these ribbons. So these tabs are enabled, and now I have enabled the automate and the developer option. So yeah, the automate was active. I've enabled the developer option. Let's click on OK. And now we get the developer option here. Great. It also gives, if you have some past Excel like Excel 2007, then see it has also giving us the steps. So if you have the older version of Excel, you can follow the steps and you can ensure that the developer tab gets active so that you will be able to use macros, right? Execution. Once a macro is created, it can be run manually by the user through Excel's user interface or trigger automatically when certain conditions are met. Security. Since macros can execute automated actions and scripts, they can pose a security risk if the macro contain malicious code. So it can happen that the security of millions of rows of data, of so much of records which exist in a database, the entire data might get compromised because of security lapses. So macros will enable uh, a very kind of risk, and see, this will be automated. So if you are using manual work and if you are doing everything manually, the risk for data lapse, the risk for security code becomes very high. So it's important to only enable macros from trusted sources and to set appropriate security settings in Excel. In Excel, we do have security settings related to data governance and everything. So we can enable all those steps. We can do the data sensitivity level in order if we have to save something. So see, there are some kinds of data sensitivity. So this is a like business account. So here we have the personal, the public, general, confidential, then there is highly confidential. So these are the data tabs, or these are the different kinds of security measures which we can take to secure our data. And it's very important, if we are using a macro, then it will only save in this format: Excel macro enabled workbook, XLSM. Just remember, this is very important. If you are using macros and enabling macros, you have to save in this format. This will get auto saved in this format, and you won't be able to save it any other format. So here now, if we want to use the feature which I wanted to mention about how to get the automate email. So here I have three columns. I have the name, the email address, and the message, like I had mentioned. If I have to get a script to automate this, so first let me understand the purpose. Okay, what is the benefit? Like, why are we doing this of using macro in email? Why are we doing this? I mean, we can do it manually, So what is the point? See, time saving, accuracy, personalization, scalability. So these are the reasons why we are using macro, and we have to use this to automate our task and to make our productivity life easier, to do good with our time, and this is also very cost effective. See, why are we doing this? See, now, if we are want to break down a problem, we have to break down the problem into very small bits. It's very important to be certain about what we want to achieve and break down the problem into small fragments. So this is how I have used, and the benefit I have asked at the first time, and the second occurrence I have asked the reason. So ChatGPT has given us essentially nine what and what's the purpose of this, and in the second part, it is dividing it into why. It's improving the efficiency, enhancing communication, streamlining process, and reducing human error. By automating repeating tasks, we can minimize the chance of mistakes and inconsistencies. That is the exact, and that is the crux of using this problem and using macros to solve this problem, right? So if we have to get the script, the first step is to open the VBA editor by holding Alt plus F11, and we have to create a new module, and we have to write the script, write the entire script. You don't have to learn the script or anything. It's just the script which ChatGPT has prepared in order to solve this problem. So I'm doing the first step over here. I went through the VB editor by pressing Alt and F11. There, I think, yeah, I'm supposed to click on Insert, then Module, and paste this, right? So let me just see if I'm done it on the what, if I've used all the correct steps or not. So in order to create a new module, to insert module, and then after pasting the script, we need to run the macro. But before we need to run the macro and this step works, we need to understand how the script works. So this script initializes an instance of Outlook to send emails. The first step is to get and to loop the structure of Outlook so that it comes into the uh, program and the application gets registered into the script. It processes each row in the specified range of the worksheet. For each row, the script reads the recipient's email address and message. So it does entirely on a row by row basis. In a row context, this entire VBA script works, and that is one of the features of VBA, that it works in a row by row way. Okay, this is not columnar based or anything. This is in a row by row format. It creates a new mail item, populates the fields, and sets the emails. After the script runs, it displays a message box indicating the emails were sent successfully. Okay, quite impressive. So running the macro will involve exiting the VBA editor. Press Alt and F8. To open the Run Micro dialog, select Send Emails and click Run. So first we need to close the VB editor, and then we need to run the macro, essentially. So what we're doing is essentially we need to close and return. I have closed it, and I pressed Alt 8, and it's giving me yes. Press Alt and F8 to open the run macro. Select send emails and click run. Right? Great, great. So we are getting the send emails right here. Just don't do any of the things over here. Just click here on the first one. Click on run, and before selecting that, let me just come back to this workbook. If I'm selecting run, this will essentially open Outlook. It will trigger a notification and it will automate the email. See, all these emails will be sent to these email addresses, and these persons will be receiving this email just by select of a button. That is the best part of VBA, and we have done it using Excel. So see, it works. If we are clicking on run, then it's taking us to the Outlook time, and I haven't set up an email connection over yet. So this is asking for email credentials and all. So after establishing a connection and things like that, this will try to compel and this will try to understand if we are able to open the Outlook account or not. After logging on the mail server, it is giving congratulations, email account was successfully configured. Click on finish, and now it's taking us to the website itself. So this essentially, it's completely automated and it's completely active. The emails will completely go if you set up an Outlook email, and this is the most important and the most amazing part about ChatGPT. We are able to completely automate this. Okay, great, 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 great. So essentially, that is a very important part. And see, now we have got the message email sent successfully. So we have to wait for some time, maybe 1 minute or so. But this step will ensure that this message and these emails have successfully reached the said email IDs. So that is amazing. We have done the VBA automate part. So email automation, this is basically the basics of automation. And automation is a very important subject in today's world in terms of career growth, in terms of opportunities. And automation can be done in many ways. We can use Power Apps to automate our work. We can use Power Automate Visual in Power BI. We have the automation in the data engineering field. We have automation in Fabric. So automation exists in each and every field, and even in Excel, we have VBA, we have automation, we have automated tasks for many years, and this is very important. Yet a lot of people don't know this. So now explain two other features of VBA along with sample dataset. Is it possible? So again, it's giving us the same thing. It is just defining things. And now the first step is to get this data and use data manipulation. Can we use VBA to manipulate data? Yes, we can read, we can modify, we can analyze data in cell ranges or entire worksheets using VBA. So let me copy this over here. We have three columns. One is product, one is quantity, one is price. And here I'm naming it data manipulation, right? So this is the sample data set and this is the VBA script. Let's create a macro that calculates the total value for each product by multiplying the quantity by the price and displays the result in a new column. Now that is great. That is a macro which we are using and we are calculating the total value for each product. Okay, product A, product B, product C. We are creating the total value by multiplying the quantity by the price, displaying the result in a new column. So essentially, we want to create a new column. Okay, this is the new column we want to create. And here we need to multiply the quantity with the price. So the quantity of product A should be 50, product B should be 20 into 7.5, product C it will be 15 into 6, and product D will be 25 into 4.5. So essentially that is what we want. Can we do that using VBA? Yes, we can do that. So if we want to apply this calculation, we can just apply a VBA code, and the scripts read the quantity and price columns from the sample dataset and calculates the total value for each product. So in the last steps, in the last prompt, you know how we have reached VB or how we can go there, right? So we do have an understanding about it. So if I'm just using the same steps and if I locate to the VBA script, see it has a different script now. It has the previous script which I used the send emails. Now I have to change it. Now I'm using a new script. I'm calculating things. I'm closing and returning. I'm doing the same steps, Alt F8. And now we have a new macro. See, now it has calculate total value. So if I select here run, okay, runtime error subscript out of range. Okay, so now it's showing that there is a runtime error, and this is the error which is telling us set w adjust sheet name as needed. So the sheet name is mentioned as sheet 1. However, see the sheet name over here is data manipulation. So it's giving us an option to rename sheet, and yeah, I have renamed it. Okay, okay, right. And here I am copying data manipulation, pasting it over here, and doing the same steps. I'm closing and returning. And if I'm using Alt F8, what is it showing? Okay, let me try to check again. Yes, now we are getting the total value. See the step which we used? We have just enabled and we got the entire total value using macros, using automation, using this script. Because I haven't manually typed the name, or I haven't manually got a calculation of this, because I have no earthly idea how to calculate this in fraction of a second. But if I'm using a script, if I'm using a calculation, macro is making this possible to generate a columns, and we can do this for thousands of rows, like thousands of millions of rows of data. So that is something which we can very, very aptly achieve. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it one of the best amazing part of macro and chat gpt? This is one of the basic hacks which everyone should try, and everyone should actually have understanding. So the second part is a bit complicated. It relates to user forms, and as we understand, user forms are fill up with a lot of data, and these are survey forms which are shared and across various kinds of domains across everyone. We get new forms in our emails, we get forms in daily basis. Even if we go to a workplace and we need to fill up so many submissions, and VBA, it allows us to create custom user forms for data input, for selection, and other interactive tasks. So with the help of VBA, we can create custom user forms for data input. We can create user forms for interactivity task and selection as well. Basically, it provides a user-friendly interface for data entry or viewing. So again, I'm using a sample data set over here, and right, there is name, the age, the gender. So now our task and our objective is to create a macro that demonstrates a simple user form by adding a new entry to the sample dataset. That is what we have to do. We need to create a macro which we can show a simple user form for adding a new entry to this dataset which we have, right? This is the task. So it is giving us the same steps, but we need to do some changes over here. What are the changes? We need to create a user form, and see, this is something which we need to do hands on. In the VB editor, go to insert, then user form. See, add text box controls for name, age, gender, as well as command control for submit and cancel. So we need to do that. We need to name the text boxes in the this name, text age, text gender, and we need to name the buttons in this way. Okay. Okay, that is great. So we need to name it in this way. So let's do this. Let's see what happens. We are going into insert, and then we are going into user forms. See, now we have user form 1, and here we have the controls. We need to set, and we need to set the controls in such a way that we are able to understand which assign or which buttons we are doing. So there is checkbox, there is list box. See, add text box controls. So we need to add text box control. Are we getting text box? Label text box. Now we have a text box, and okay, So if we want to name a text box, I'm putting the name as text name. Okay. Again, I'm putting another text box. I'm putting the text box over here. Text age. Okay. What do you have to do? You have to name the text box, right? So another is text gender. Let's try to do this, because if we don't try things, then nothing will be ever achievable, right? So let's try. Now we have text name, text age, text gender. I'm just placing it in this method. We have to name buttons as well. We have to use the command button controls for submit as cancel. So we need to get the command button, combo box, list box, check box, toggle button. There is option button. There is frame. We have the option of command button. So now we have the command button option. So yeah, I want to let me put this in the center. I think it will be better visually, right? Right. Great. Okay, I think we have good amount of space between the three. Now I'm putting one button over here, and the name should be submit. This is what we should name it as. I'm not sure about this prompt. So yeah, okay. I'm using the submit button over here, and we need to create something like this another time. We need to create a command box. If I'm to see where is that option, list box frame. Yeah, there's a command box. Okay. Again, I'm not sure what this is coming up, because I'm not an expert in VBA, but I have using ChatGPT to essentially generate this entire form. So yeah, I have created this user form. It has the name, the age, the gender, and submit cancel. Then double click BT and submit, and on the button on the form, and write the following code. Okay. So I'm using double click. Okay. So essentially it wants me to write this code, and that's what I have written it, ending this, and I'm removing this because this is repeating. This was there from the beginning itself. So now it's showing run the macro and create a macro in the module to show the form. So we have to create this macro to show the form. Okay. When we have to create run, the run show form will display, and when the user submits the form, data will be added to the data set. So in order to run the macro, first we need to create the macro in a module to show the form. How will we do that? Okay, we are using this, the end show form. We have essentially created the macro in the module, then run show form to display the form. Okay, now we need to run this show form to display the form. So if I'm closing and returning to Excel, creating on F8, we have show form. And if we select run, see, it is giving us the option. Amazing, amazing. It is giving us essentially the option to send, to add our name. We can add it. Uh, I just turned 27 yesterday, so I'm putting my age, gender, M. So we have two options, submit and cancel. If I press on submit, it will submit. If we press on cancel, it will cancel. This is basically the part which I wanted to show. This is the best feature of Excel. We have just literally we have created a user form, and if we want to make any adjustment, like now I realize the bit name sounds a bit different, and it's not actually like understanding with the kind of configurations I want. So we can also make some changes into the code itself. So that is a possibility. That is a very, very, very good possibility. So this is how essentially we have used macros. So these are just two of the many powerful features which VBA offers for Excel. On the last class, we had also talked about some features from VBA in a very introductory level. So essentially what I wanted to mention is VBA can help automate tasks, it can help manipulate data, and we have created a user form, we have automated the email using VBA. And we have done VBA, we have mentioned and we have used all the steps correctly with the help of ChatGPT. This is magical. This is how we are using ChatGPT to maximize our output, maximize our productivity. So if I have to mention one of the most use cases, I would say that ChatGPT is used a lot in Excel. And if I have to ask that apart from everything, okay, apart from everything we have learned, from formatting data to pivot table to creating sample data for testing purpose, for understanding the functions in Excel, to getting about data. So if I have to mention, can you help me create a drop down, right? Because there is some feature of Excel which requires us to get the option and to select drop downs, right? Where which we can get multiple options like products, or there might be different kinds of reasons why an employee is not joining a company. The reasons may be many. It can be due to growth opportunities, can be due to salary issue. So sometimes we need a list, so it will make our work easier, right? So to mitigate this issue with, can you help me create a data set which I'll use to select a list from a column using Excel? Okay, step by step. So we are essentially generating a prompt where we can use Excel for data validation. So that is the best part, where Excel is now, see, it's creating a data set, and now it's naming a range, and now it is giving the steps, applying data validation to a column. See, now it gives us the option of what we should do so that we can have a list which will have all these fruits: apple, banana, cherry, date, fig. But the use case is not clear. Okay, the use case is not clear. Help me with practical example using at least 5 columns and fruit list. So if I'm just making it a bit interesting, and I want the data to be down in a fruit list where it should be in a list format and it should contain all the fruits. But the use case is not clear in this because it just given one column to explain the example when I clearly mentioned that I want a data set. So see, now it's again, it's not clearly understanding the steps at all. So it will happen, okay, it will happen that ChatGPT won't be able to clearly understand. So now it will try to, yeah, see, okay, that is amazing. Okay, now Excel has given us, okay, now I think that I want to make some reprimands to this. data set, because I have noticed a few things. We don't need this formalized thing. Okay, there's something which I don't need at the moment. I don't need this drop down told being told. Just create simple data set without any formula or drop down option. Make it simple. I'm not sure what will ChatGPT do at this moment, because I think I should have given more clear prompts to this. But finally, we are able to understand, and finally, ChatGPT is able to give some proper context into this data. And now, this is something which we need. See, this is something which is relevant and something which I can use case as an example. So now we have a data where we have different kinds of fruit IDs, where fruit ID 1 is assigned to apple, fruit ID 2 is assigned to banana, fruit ID 3 is assigned to cherry, and all these 10 fruit IDs have 10 different amounts of fruits. Okay, the quantity is mentioned over here, the price is mentioned, the category is mentioned. Now suppose we have millions of rows of data. Okay, and we want to select and we want to give a proper order to this. And let's suppose we don't have so many rows of data, because it will be pointless if that happens. So here, if we want to select a list, or if we want to create a list, how will we able to do that? There is a sequence of steps which we can do, but there are some situations where people don't know how to use this, or no one has properly given them the proper sequence steps to understand. So here I will explain this in a step-by-step way of how you can make it this possible. Firstly, we need to name the range. So we can name the range of the data set, and we can select it in the name box. We can name it as fruit list. We can add that, and that's something which we can create. So okay, the steps are mentioned at the top. So if I'm naming this, see, I do have an option to name this. So fruit list. Okay, anyway, let's something which is a bit ambiguous in nature. So if we are using the drop down option, it is mentioning the step. See, now enter data, select an item. So it refers us and it wants us to go to the data tab. And here, see, we have the option of the data validation. Once we click over here, we have the option of list. Here we need to select which list we want. Okay, so that is the most important part. So once we click on source, we have the option to get the list, and just press enter. Now I had like missed one thing. In order to get the list, first we need to choose the data. We need to choose the relevant column. Go to data, then go to data validation. Again, choose list, and here in the source, just select the source we want and press enter. See, now we have two options for every row. See, now we have two options for every cell. See, for every cell under the category column, see, only the category column cell has this option. It doesn't exist in any other option. And we have used ChatGPT to create this data set. And we have used ChatGPT to properly understand the use case of this scenario. So now if the quality is coming as dried instead of fresh, then we can change the category just by the help of a drop down. See, and this will be multiple. We can have 1,000 different kinds of categories, and all we need is a drop down. The best case is, suppose if we have, further 10 more products. So we cannot write fresh, dried at the same time, right? The real purpose of using list is for future data. Just select the below ranges or the below list for as long as you want. Let's suppose till 99. I'm choosing the list. I'm using date. I'm going to data validation and we'll use the same function as list. Enter the source. The source will be, okay, let me use a different source. Let me just use two sources. Okay, like there is fresh dried, so it's no point of using all these sources. So it will be pointless. So let me change the source again. Yep. Let me just enter the source as fresh dried and click or select OK or click enter. See, now we have two options. Just to fresh and dried, fresh and dried. If the next batch or if the next terminology terms as fresh, or let's say, okay, let me just do this 11, 12, 13. If I just drag this further, see it's repeating. Let me do the same for here. Okay, no worries. So in the next part, we don't have any drop down for this cell and the next cell, but we have for this in this workbook for column number E from 1 to 99. I have fresh and dried. So it can be categorized in such a neat way. And if you go to here 99, see 97, 98, 99, we still have the option. We still have the option for 100. No, there is no more option. So this is what we have done, and we have used ChatGPT to incorporate a drop-down list, and this is so amazing. This is so cool. Apply data validation, selecting the cell, choose list, specify the source, click OK. It is giving end-to-end these 5 steps, the 5 steps which I have done, end-to-end. This is the ultimate application of ChatGPT, and this is very much used in the business world, and this is being used in a very productive manner. And essentially this is how we have used ChatGPT for Excel to improve our productivity, to be best with each and every source which we can manage. And this is essentially done to save a lot of time, a lot of effort, right? That is great. That is great. That is the amazing part. So if we want to wrap this up for the Excel part, I believe for now we have done enough with ChatGPT and with Excel. So let me start with SQL, and let me just mention that I've used SQL in my work because I have to work with database of large amounts of data, and we have to do some features, we have to do some understanding. So SQL is a very easy language, but we need to do practice, we need to have patience, or else this will become very complicated, this will become very difficult. And if you apply for interviews as a data analyst, as a business analyst, as data engineer or data scientist, anything related to data, anything related to engineering, you need to understand SQL, you need to have the basic concepts of SQL. So it might happen in a situation where you are not very proficient with SQL and you don't know what to do properly. So if I just start from the scratch, if I just start from beginning, I will just say I don't know SQL. Can you help me with teaching the basic fundamentals of SQL? Let me just ask this to ChatGPT and see what happens. It is giving us a prompt where it's generating that it will be very happy. It will be happy to help us learn the basic fundamentals of SQL. And let's see what's going on. Oh my God, that is great. It's giving us examples from scratch, from the basic SQL commands to select, to where, insert, update, delete, join. See, at the end of the day, we are able to get an insight. And from beginning, if I have to start, for the fundamental concepts and commands in SQL, like what are the major methods we need to have? We need to have table, row, column. So in a relational database, Data is stored in tables which are organized into rows and columns. Okay, so as we are saying, we need to understand the basic components of SQL, where it starts with table, row, column. So data is stored in tables, and tables are organized into rows and columns. Each column has a specific date range. So a column in a table represents different attributes of a record such as name, age, or address. Okay, so that is the basic understanding of rows and columns. So I hope this is the basic syntax, or these are the basic syntax of the basic commands of SQL. So what do we have? What is the basic SQL command? As per ChatGPT, um, as per ChatGPT, we do have an understanding and we do have a knowledge that there are certain kinds of commands. There is select, where, insert into, update, and delete, join. So there are certain kinds of examples which is there, like the select command. What is the select command? This command is used to query data from a database. We can specify the column we want to retrieve and the conditions for filtering data. So that is great. So it's giving us a syntax and also with an example. See, the example is just below the syntax part. It's saying that the syntax and the example is used to query a data from a database. We can specify the columns we want to retrieve and condition with an example. Select name, age from students. What does this mean? Name and age are two columns from the students table. So if we select the name and age from the students table, it will return us with the proper output. It will give us the name and the age of students. We also have the where clause where it's used to filter the results of query based on a condition. So if we select two columns from a table, we can use a where condition. It also has the example select name age from where age is greater than 20. Then we have the insert into option where it's used to add new data to a table. Then we have to use the update command as well. It is used to modify existing data in a table, and also the example. Like if we want to update the age of a student and the name is Alice, what will we do? We can use this query. We can use this code. Update student, set age 23, where name is Alice. Great. So suppose I want to get a better example of this. Okay. So I'm giving you a live use case scenario. I'm preparing for a data analyst interview. So let's use ChatGPT to ensure that our interview goes well and we are able to use ChatGPT to crack our dream job. So I'm preparing for a data analyst interview. This will, okay, SQL is required for this role. Help me with, okay, what is it showing? Okay, yeah, help me with situation based questions. So these are some topics on SQL. So I'm using it as some of the questions based on joins, CTE, stored procedure, because these are the most important topics in SQL, and these are very much inactive. These are very much in accordance. So I have made a mistake. Stored procedure spelling is wrong. So I've corrected this. We have joined CT, we have stored procedure. We have we also need to use clustering index as well. So these are the basic requirements which every company asks. So we need to answer questions if we face any solutions, and they will ask you, they will give you situations where you need to present the different kinds of joints, you need to explain it, you need to get the top functions, top five and bottom five products. Okay, so if I have to mention on top, I'm just say act as a SQL expert and help me with questions, answers, syntax, and also the output with creating a sample data set, because it's very important that we need to create a sample data set so we can be able to crack an interview which has all the SQL questions, and these are the very most important questions which comes up in SQL related to joins, related to all, where they will mention to use the chat box and get the most amount of data. So now it's giving us questions. Given the following two tables, write a query that retrieves a list of customers and the products they have purchased. So now it's giving us it's essentially it's giving us three tables: customers, orders, product. Where customer, we have customer ID, name, Alice, Bob, Charlie. Order, it has ID, then customer ID, then product ID. Products has ID and name. And how we can solve this? Okay, write a query, retrieve list of customers, products they have purchased. How we can do this? We can use inner join to combine the data from customers, orders, and products tables based on the matching customer and product IDs. And how we can do this? See, it is giving us the way. Select c.name as customer name, p.name as product name. So c.name is, we are getting the name from the customers table, that's why it's c. And p, we are getting it from the products table, that's why it is p. So we have to use that, and we have to use an alias. See, as is an alias, and c.name will be customer name and p.name will be product name from customer C. So now we have to take the information from customer C. We are taking the information from the first table. So that's how inner join will work. Inner join basically means we are connecting the first table with the second table and getting the matching rows. So if we join orders O on c.id equal to o.id. So now we can join orders O and join products P. We need to do join, we need to do inner join. We are joining the first table with all these two tables. And we are joining order O on C, we are joining products P on O equal to p.id. So we are combining the order with the product table, and we are combining the customer table with the order table. That is the great part. And this output will come the customer name along with the product name. What about CTE? Write a query Write a query using a CT to calculate the total sales by each customer in the orders table. So these questions come up for basic interviews for data analysis parts, and this is very important to join and to get this information, because if you are not able to understand what is CTE, you won't be able to answer these questions. So first you need to understand CTE. CTE is common table expression. It allows us to define a temporary result set to use in a query. Here's how you can use CTE to calculate total sales by each customer. See, now it is giving us the code, but now if I want to, if I want ChatGPT to explain this, explain me this code. I don't know about CTE. Be be very basic. Be very basic. Okay, I made a small error. So yeah, if I just write the code itself and save, now, now it will give us the output. Now it will explain us the code step by step. So this code uses a common table expression to calculate total sales per customer. Then it joins the results with the customer table. So what was the like need? What was the ask? We need to understand all these things. We need to understand the ask. The ask was to calculate total sales by each customers in the order table. So now we have used ChatGPT to comment this code to understand the common table expression To use total sales, see how it explains how we can use the total sales, and we can use the main query. So after defining the main query is executed using a join function. So this is wrapping up for today. Let's continue this session in the next class. Thank you.